Good morning, everyone. My name is Jerome Durso, Chairman of the Board of Directors of Altimmune. The meeting is now called to order. I've asked Robin E. Abrams, our General Counsel, to record the minutes. It's a pleasure to welcome our shareholders and visitors to the annual meeting of Altimmune Inc. We're excited to be hosting our meeting virtually, which allows us to be more inclusive and reach a greater number of shareholders via the web portal. This meeting is being held in accordance with the corporation's bylaws and Delaware law. Our meeting today will take care of the formal business at hand, which is described in our notice and proxy statement, a copy of which was mailed on or about August 18th, 2025, to all of our stockholders of record at the close of business on August 12th of this year. During this portion of the meeting, all discussions will be limited to the official business at hand. Before proceeding to the formal business, I'd like to introduce the directors and officers of the corporation who are with us today. Our outside directors are John Gill, Philip Hodges, Diane Jorkasky, Terry Lawver, Wayne Pisano, Mitchell Sayre, Klaus Schaefer, and Catherine Sohn. Our officers are Vipin Garg, President and Chief Executive Officer, Gregory Weaver, Chief Financial Officer, Scott Roberts, Chief Scientific Officer, Scott Harris, Chief Medical Officer, Raymond M. Jort, Chief Business Officer, and Linda M. Richardson, Chief Commercial Officer. Our independent auditors, the firm of Ernst & Young LLP, is represented at this meeting by Ann V. Kroon. We're also joined today by Joseph Thies of Goodwin Procter LLP, our outside legal counsel. Now let's proceed to the formal business of the meeting, notice of which was sent to all shareholders of record as of the close of business on August 12th, 2025. Shareholders of record on that date are entitled to vote at this meeting. We have at this meeting a record of stockholders as of that date. A duplicate record has been on file at the principal place of business of the corporation for the last 10 days, immediately prior to the date of this meeting, and have been available for inspection by any stockholder during that period at any time during normal business hours. If any stockholder wishes to address the chairman after the polls have closed, please do so by entering your question in the text box provided on the web portal. I request that your comments be brief in order to allow other stockholders the opportunity to ask questions. If you have any questions on the rules of conduct for the meeting, we've posted the rules of conduct to the web portal. The Board of Directors has appointed Kristen Figueroa, who is joining this meeting telephonically, to act as Inspector of Election for this annual meeting, and she will tabulate results of the voting. The Inspector of Election has signed the oath of her office, which will be filed with the minutes of this meeting. Mrs. Figueroa, do we have a quorum present?
Mr. Chairman, of the 88,257,253 shares of common stock entitled to vote at this meeting, 51,688,116 shares are represented either in person or by proxy, and therefore a quorum is present.
I declare that a quorum is present. We may now proceed to transact the business for which this meeting has been called. Now let me briefly describe the voting procedures. We will vote by proxy and by written ballot via the web portal. If you've previously turned in your proxy and do not intend to change your vote, it is not necessary that you complete another proxy or ballot. Your vote will be counted. If you are eligible to vote and have not submitted your proxy, or if you want to change your vote, please submit your vote via the voting buttons on the web portal. It's now 8:34 on September 25th, 2025, and the polls for each matter to be voted on at this annual meeting are now open. Our first item of business is the election of directors. At this meeting, we will be voting on 10 nominees for director to serve a term of 1 year, all as set forth in the proxy statement. In accordance with the bylaws, your directors have nominated Jerome Durso, Vipin Garg, John Gill, Philip Hodges, Diane Jorkasky, Terry Lawver, Wayne Pisano, Mitchell Sayre, Klaus Schaefer, and Catherine Sohn to be elected to serve as directors. The corporation's bylaws require that a stockholder provide advance notice to the corporation of a stockholder's intent to nominate persons as directors. No such notice was received. Accordingly, the 10 nominees of the company whom I mentioned are the only nominees up for election as directors at this meeting. The board of directors unanimously recommends that stockholders vote in favor of this proposal. Anyone who is voting via the web portal, please mark your vote now. The second item of business is the ratification of the appointment of Ernst & Young LLP as the corporation's independent registered public accounting firm for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025. The audit committee of the board of directors, which is comprised entirely of independent directors, appointed Ernst & Young as the corporation's independent registered public accounting firm to audit the corporation's financial statements for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025. The board of directors approved the selection of Ernst & Young and have asked the stockholders to ratify the selection. Stockholder ratification is not required by the corporation's bylaws. However, the board of directors is submitting this to the stockholders for ratification as a matter of good corporate governance. If the stockholders do not approve the selection of Ernst & Young as the corporation's independent registered public accounting firm, the board of directors and the audit committee will reconsider this appointment. Anyone who is voting via the web portal, please mark your vote now. The third item of business is the approval on an advisory basis of the compensation of the corporation's named executive officers as disclosed in the proxy statement. The board of directors unanimously recommends that stockholders vote in favor of this proposal. Anyone who is voting now via the web portal, please mark your vote now. The fourth item of business is the approval of the authorization to adjourn the annual meeting, if necessary or appropriate, to solicit additional proxies in favor of the foregoing proposals if there are not sufficient votes to approve the proposals. The board of directors unanimously recommends that stockholders vote in favor of this proposal. Anyone who is voting via the web portal, please mark your vote now. You must submit your ballot via the web portal now in order for your vote to be counted. The Inspector of Elections will not accept ballots, proxies, or votes, or any changes or revocations submitted after the closing of the polls. It's now 8:38 on September 25th, 2025, and the polls for each matter to be voted on at this meeting are now closed. No additional ballots, proxies, or votes, and no changes or revocations will be accepted. Mrs. Figueroa, please report on the results of the voting.
With regard to Proposal 1, a plurality of the votes cast have been voted in favor of the election of the persons nominated. With regard to Proposal 2, a majority of the votes cast have been voted in favor of the ratification of Ernst & Young LLP as the corporation's independent registered accounting firm for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025. With regard to Proposal 3, a majority of the votes cast have been voted in favor of the approval on an advisory basis of the compensation of the corporation's named executive officers as disclosed in the proxy statement. With regard to Proposal 4, the majority of the votes cast have been voted in favor of the approval of the authorization to adjourn the annual meeting, if necessary or appropriate, to solicit additional proxies in favor of the foregoing proposals if there are not sufficient votes to approve the proposal.
Thank you, Mrs. Figueroa. I declare that all of the proposals presented at the meeting have been approved by the stockholders. The final results of voting, including any ballots and proxies recorded during this meeting, will be set forth in the report of the Inspector of Election and will be included in the minutes of this meeting. The final results will also be included in our report filed with the SEC. The formal portion of our meeting has concluded. I will now check whether we have received questions from stockholders that have been properly submitted. We have not received any questions from stockholders. There being no other matters for consideration at this meeting, I hereby adjourn